Hey, everybody, welcome to our book study, Chapter 4 on the Magic of Thinking Big. I'm Michelle Stuchel, and I hope that you guys are enjoying this book as much as I am. I mean, this book is really life-changing if you will apply the principles in it. I have it on audio and I have paperback version. And it's funny because I will pick up different things when I listen to it and versus when I read it. So just a little pro tip for you, not that you have to do both, but it's interesting to me because I just catch different things. Okay, so this chapter is entitled How to Think Big. Let me open my notes. And honestly, I think it could be titled How to Create Business Builders. Anybody have a reason why I think that? Why would I say How to Create Business Builders is the subtitle of this chapter? Any ideas? Anyone? All righty. Well, I guess I'll tell you, because this is all about seeing what could be and should be and communicating that vision to other people. That is the number one characteristic. That is called casting vision for people. When you communicate what you see, what could be and should be, communicating that is the skill of casting vision. And to create, that's the skill of duplication. It is the first step in creating business builders. It's showing people what you see for them, how what we have can get them to their dream and to the life that they want. What we have is the vehicle to get them there. So when I look at that tired mama, and it's still with the products too, when I look at the tired mom, I don't look at her as a tired mom. I look at her, what could her life be if she had energy and could get on the floor and play with her kid? Or, the husband that desperately wants to have time freedom and not have to work 12-hour days, but wants to be home at night and have dinner with his kids and his wife. What could their life be like if they didn't have to work 2 or 3 jobs, or they had the resources to do what God's put in their heart? When you see that, when you can see that possibility and you communicate that, that is the beginning of creating business builders. Okay, so let's get into the chapter. And chapter 4, How to Think Big, on page 79, he says this. The point is this: big thinkers are specialists in creating positive, forward-thinking, optimistic pictures in their own minds and in the minds of others. To think big, we must use words and phrases that produce big, positive mental images. Okay, you know what this is called in the Christian world? It's called prophetic vision. That's what this is. Prophetic vision. It's seeing what could be and should be. Okay? To think big, we must use words and phrases that produce big, positive mental images. Specialists in creating positive, forward-thinking, optimistic pictures in their own minds and the minds of others. Okay, so number one, it begs the question of what kind of thinking do you have for your own future? Right? What do you see for yourself? Where do you see that you're going? Who do you see that you're becoming? And then once you do that for yourself, you can also communicate that to others. And when you do that, that is when the magic starts to happen. And we have a whole training on that. I did a whole training on casting vision for our team last year. And I also did a training on that for Ruby Retreat. That's a skill that can be learned. And this is the best thing about this chapter. All of these things that he talked about, they're just skills to be learned. Okay, then he talks about these phrases that create small negative mind images versus phrases that create big positive mind images, right? Okay, so let's try some of these because these looked interestingly like objections, don't they? Okay, so I'm going to say a negative phrase, that creates small negative mind images. And I want someone to give me a positive because he took the same concept. And what did he do? He flipped the script, right? Like number 2, I was in that business once and failed, never again. But the phrase that creates big positive mind images, because that's what he talks about. You have to use the words in and of themselves don't do anything, but it's the image that they create in the mind, right? Which makes sense. Without vision, the people perish. You have to have that mental picture in your brain, right? And the positive phrase was, I went broke, but it was my own fault. I'm going to try again, or whatever it is. Okay, so let's try these negative phrases and then flip them to a positive. Okay. I tried network marketing once and it didn't work for me. What would be a positive, a phrase that creates big positive mind images? How could we answer that?
We could use the analogy of a restaurant. If you've gone to a bad restaurant, you're not going to stop going to restaurants. You're still going to go to a restaurant, and Plexus is different. So that would be
I love it.
to flip the script.
That's right. Okay, what about this one? I'm not a salesperson. I hate sales.
You could explain that you're really just finding a need and filling it, that you're serving people well. So, just figuring out how to phrase that, but
100%. Sales is actually a noble thing. Jessica Heffley has all training on this. So does Rebecca Folks. Sales is actually a noble thing because what it is offering solutions for people. It's just the way that it's done. Nobody wants to be bullied or pushed, but there is a way that you can authentically provide solutions for people. That's noble. Love it. Okay, what about, I don't have any business builders.
God is going to bring me business builders.
That's right. That's right. I'm a self-motivated king. This is my affirmation I have on my board. I'm looking at it right now. I'm a self-motivated, kingdom-minded leader, attracting self-motivated, kingdom-minded leaders. I'm going to find and develop business builders, right? Okay, what about this one? Everyone's turning off their subs. The recession. There's people just don't have money.
Well, flipping it to how many are keeping their subs on, how many are able to do this, and that God is going to, again, have our people.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's funny that you say that because I've got whole legs of my team that are blowing up. And I see social media, people are taking trips all over the place. People have money for the things they value. Question is, small thinkers focus on what's being taken away and what's not happening. Big thinkers think on the possibilities. Do you see how that one circumstance, it all hinges on what you're thinking about, right? It all hinges on what you're thinking about. Okay. You get the point. Okay. So let's talk about, flip my page, 4 ways to develop big thinkers' vocabulary. Because remember, he talks about the words in and of themselves. The point of the word is to create that mental picture. Okay. Number 1 on page 82. He says, use big, positive, cheerful words and phrases to describe how you feel. It's kind of like, have you ever seen that thing? If you don't feel like smiling, if you're not happy, smile and you'll feel better automatically. I mean, everybody smile right now. Everybody seriously smile. I mean, doesn't that make you feel better? Like you almost start to chuckle when you start smiling because it does help. So I entitled this, Speak Life. Speak life over yourself. Call those things that are not as though they are. Are you going to focus on, it's like what Joyce Meyer said. She woke up one morning and she said, I'm depressed. I don't feel good. I don't want to get out of this bed. And then finally she said, wait a second, who told me I was depressed? I am not. I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. I am the head and not the tail. I'm the righteousness of Christ, and I'm full of joy because in his presence is the fullness of joy. And right now I'm seated with Christ in the heavenlies. I mean, that'll make you feel better, right? So are we speaking life over ourselves? Okay. Give me an example. Someone give me an example. How can you speak life over your business? What could you say?
I just had an idea earlier, because I did notice a couple people turning their sub off, and it can make me feel, oh man. But then I thought, oh my gosh, my thought was I could get on TikTok and literally, because I posted a video one time and it literally got like 700 views in like a very short time. So I mean, that was my idea, was like, that's a possibility. I could just get on TikTok or something and 700 people right there. know.
Yes, Angela, hold her feet to the fire on that. Yes, go make videos on TikTok, Amanda.
Thanks.
You're exposed now. We're gonna hold you accountable to that. Yes, go get them all on TikTok. Okay.
Gonna happen.
But yeah, I mean, it does sting when you see a sub turning off. I'm not going to say it doesn't sting. It can sting, but look, that's also normal. How many people are actually keeping their subs on? And your people are out there, right? Your people are out there. So, okay. I love number 2. Use bright, cheerful, favorable words and phrases to describe other people. How can we do this in our business? What would be a good application of this principle?
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead. Whoever was gonna go.
now I was just gonna say is that like some of our reach outs that we've been talking about doing where we're calling out leadership qualities in people.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that can be both your prospects and your happy product users. I mean, what about every day? What about every day putting in your daily activity? I'm going to reach out to 3 to 5 happy product users and just tell them how thankful I am for them and what I see in them. You're like depositing in your emotional, your relational bank account, right? So really, really, really important. Okay, this is where the meat comes in. I'm going to fast forward page 82. See what can be and not just what is. Big thinkers train themselves to see not just what is, but what can be. And then he gives 4 illustrations to show the point. Okay, number 1, real estate. It's like, what made Chip and Joanna Gaines so popular? Fixer Upper, right? She would see these houses that are like 1970s. Nobody wants to be in them, but she saw what could be, right? And at the end, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. How did you do that? It's because she saw it here first, right? She saw it here first. So what gives the real estate the value? It's first seeing the vision, and that's prophetic vision. And communicating what could be to people. And it's as simple as, seeing where they are, what they want, and how Plexus is the bridge to get them there. The moral is page 84, looking not at things as they are, but as they can be. Visualization adds value to everything. A big thinker always visualizes what can be done in the future. He isn't stuck with the present. So how do we communicate that to people? Does anybody have an example of how you've communicated that vision to somebody?
I guess when you're telling them their dreams back to them, like if they tell you a reason why they would want to share, and then maybe they have a rough couple of months or something happens, and you're just, in conversation reminding them of why it's worth it, why they would want to keep sharing, just helping them to see down the road.
Well, that's just it, Melanie. You totally nailed it. And the magic phrase was their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know what their dreams are, which means you have to ask good questions and you have to listen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what you're going to do for me and my team, get me to diamond, or even our community or this or that. It's asking good questions to know what their dreams are.
Because we can't assume that like Diamond, because that's our dream, is their dream. Maybe that's not their dream. There might be some other motivating thing for them. So
Right.
knowing what's going to stir their heart to get
And-
active.
Yes, and here's what I missed this for years. As soon as somebody used to tell me they wanted to make money, or sure, extra money would be great, I was like, oh, awesome, let's go. Let's run. That's their why. But it's not. It's what is the money going to allow them to do? What opportunity is the money going to create? What do they want their life to look like? It's not that they just want to see a bunch of $100 bills. It's they want to travel. They want to have more time with their husband. They want to, fund homes for girls rescued out of sex trafficking. It's whatever they want their life to look like. But we have the responsibility to ask, to figure that out, to find out what those dreams are, and then to paint that picture for them that this could be the vehicle for that. And that's a matter of connecting and asking questions and then showing them that. And how do you show them? With your words, showing them what could be. And as you develop that skill and do it over and over and over and over again, that's how you begin to have business builders. You remember the team call that Eva Schmidt did for us? It's not that she had the most amazing systems. It's that she infused people with incredible belief and kept telling them over and over and over again what she saw for them. She just never gave up on people's potential, regardless if Jessica Hogendorn literally told her no for 6 months. She just wouldn't give up on her because Eva saw what this could do for her, right? You never give up on somebody's potential, but you got to know by listening. And it's all about them. All about them. They are the hero of their story, right? Like when Chip and Joanna at Fixer Upper, when they showed the big reveal, they're not showing Chip and Joanna. They're showing the people, their faces, and their house, and how they're reacting to their house. The camera's not on Joanna, even though Joanna's the one that made it happen, right? We're in the background. They're the hero of the story. Okay, this I thought was so important. Number 2, how much is a customer worth, which goes back to Leah's amazing call on retention. And why we want to retain people, instead of just looking at, oh, they're just getting a bottle of ProBio Fiber. Oh, they just have points, they only have 74 PV, or oh, this. How much money are they investing over the year, and what are they going to be in the long term? Because it's much easier to keep a customer than to get a new one. If we are not retaining our people, we are missing the boat. And listen, just like Leah said, we all need to watch that video again. And I'm going to be putting a post in the team page tomorrow. We're creating retention power hours where we can all do power hours to do retention together. Repeat business creates residual income for us. That's where residual income, not just new recruits. I don't want to be recruiting for the rest of my life, but I do want residual income for the rest of my life. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and yes, Leah, how much is it costing us? So it's so important to be treating our customers with excellent customer service, which means continued connection, right? And it doesn't take a lot of effort. If we all just reached out to 3 customers every day, that would literally take 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. Because the reality is they're not all going to get on the phone with you. And if you do get on the phone with you, maybe they're going to turn into a business builder. Okay. The blind milkman, seeing what could be in the future. They may not need you now, but maybe when that woman has that next baby and she doesn't want to put the child in daycare, maybe she will come to you. Continuing to foster relationship and see what could be. And then number 4, that I loved this. Practice adding value. Practice adding value to people. Practice adding value in your team, and practice adding value to yourself, which I loved. And remember, he told the story about Harry. how he was not the best or the brightest, but he went around helping everybody in the company. And then when there was a transition, Harry, even though he wasn't the most qualified, he was take over, and how everybody loved him. Let me ask you this. How do you know who the leaders on our team are, or the leaders in Freedom Team? How do you know? Because I guarantee you, you all can name the leaders of our team. It's because they're adding value. They're sharing a podcast. They're adding, sample messages to the chat. They're saying like a tip on how to use, to work smarter, not harder. You can see it every day who the leaders are because they're adding value. If you want to grow as a leader, add value. Add value to our team. Add value. Well, you first have to start adding value to yourself, right? How do we add value to ourselves? Let's talk about that. How do you add value to yourself?
Reading,
Mm-hmm.
listening to podcasts,
Yes.
praying, reading
Yes.
the word, listening to other leaders, watching the videos, learning about the products.
Yep. And Madison said thought models, all of that. Inevitably, and Brittany used to always say that, and I feel like I'm just Brittany on repeat. Inevitably, when I listen to something, it's going to come out and help somebody within that day, if not the next couple days. Always. I'll just listen to something and then I'm like, oh, snap, this person needs to hear this. Or I'll see something and, oh, wow, someone needs to hear this or see this. You can't add value to somebody else if you haven't first added value to yourself. So the number one place to add value to is yourself. Love others as you love yourself. And then add to the team and add to others. If you want to grow as a leader, start adding value, right? Okay. And so and that can be in different ways. What are some ways that you could add value to the team and add value to others?
You could do a video in the team page. You can, like you said, like recently, I know Amanda did a bunch of new boards. I know others have done that too, doing it, leading a team call. I mean, there's so many ways.
That's right. Angela, is your sweatshirt Pac-Man?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You are so my hero. I saw your sleeve. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. That's Pac-Man. I love it. I love it. Sorry.
They speaking life adds value to others.
Yes.
Well, I mean, just pointing out things that they're doing. Yeah, because there's a lot of speaking in the world.
Yes. And I love Angela's point. There's many different ways to add value. Listen, all those boards that you organize people do add tremendous value.
I think we overcomplicate adding value. It's just really a matter of finding what your personal strength is and not assuming it's everyone else's personal strength and then sharing it.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, it could be as simple as finding some inspirational meme and putting it in the team chat. I mean, I did that earlier today or yesterday or something, but it really spoke to me because it's a words of encouragement and somebody needed to hear it. I love it. All righty. So on page 96, it says the big objective is developing their full potential, not making issues out of their minor errors. Resolve to keep your eyes on the big ball. Okay, so those keywords, big objective is developing their full potential. And then a couple paragraphs below, resolve to keep your eyes on the big ball. What's the big ball for us, friends?
Diamond.
Yeah. Someone say that again.
Diamond.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't muted.
That's okay. Say it
Diamond.
again, Laura.
Diamond.
Yes. And then you can buy as many iPads as you flipping want to. Right? Not that we don't want the iPad, but Diamond will get you a lot of iPads.
Or how about double diamond and having multiple diamonds under us?
Yeah. 100%.
Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be a 6-star diamond. Go big or go home. And then I want my diamonds to have six stars. 100%. Okay, well, I had a lot in this chapter. So anybody else have anything? Because we're keeping it to a half an hour, but anybody else had something that really was burning inside that they wanted to share about with this chapter?
Okay, I have one little thing and it's on page 93. Is that still this chapter, right? Yeah. Page 93, it says, before complaining or accusing or reprimanding someone or launching a counterattack in self-defense, ask yourself, is this really important? And in most cases, it isn't, and you avoid conflict. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. Yes. Did anybody have any light bulbs looking at the list of when you took the test at the end of the chapter of petty thinkers approach to the big thinkers approach? I thought that was a pretty insightful test.
I have one little thing to say, if that's okay, about what you just said. And I think a lot of people, they like specifically like, you know, in the world, like in the workplace, like they may think it's really rare for people to compliment people and focus on the positive qualities of their friends or their coworkers, for example, and all of these things. So they may think it's inauthentic at first, but you know, when they get to know you, they realize, oh wow, they're, you know, this is for real. They just choose to focus on the positive. And so something I do at my work is I don't care what people think. I just be myself and I just compliment people authentically. And I, you know, it's just letting go of what people think to do the right thing. And if the right thing to me is to be positive, then that is what I want to be, you know? So anyway.
I love that, Amanda.
Thanks.
I want to hop in here and say a couple things. Hi, everybody. When I was looking at these two, this list, what it really sparked well, it resonated with me when I'm thinking about the people I'm talking to. The ones on the petty thinkers approach compared, I think I'm a pretty big thinker. And so what happens for me is it really just continues to remind me of how much I have to infuse them with that other mindset before they're willing to do something, because they really do think like that. You know, I have to do less, or I just can't do this, or there really is that limiting or scarcity mindset. It's really prevalent, right? And so it also gives me some compassion and helps my patience level with that in talking with people, especially as, you know, we've had a little tiny bump in our prices, right? For our products as an example, right? And people are like, you know, but like, girl, everything's like that. Go to the grocery store, go to the you know, so what are you gonna do about that? You know, so just those were some of my thoughts.
Yes.
My
Well-
thoughts actually went back to our branding class because it also helps you to really identify the people you want to be recruiting, because they should be falling in the big thinkers category. So as you start surrounding yourself with people and start picking up on some of the ways they're thinking, it can help you better identify, like, who am I looking for?
100%, which I had starred companionship, surrounds himself with persons with large progressive ideas. That's who I want to be in Hawaii with every year from the rest of our lives. I don't want to be with people that are nitpicking or small thinkers. No, that's not who I want to surround myself with. I want to recruit world changers. That's what I'm looking for. And so, and that's what, remember the call that Melissa Eichenhorst did? And it's the same message that Melissa had, that Alita had, that Emily Burgess had, that Rebecca Folks had, that Jessica Heffley has. They are all talking about the business with big thinkers. They're casting big vision. Same thing that Brittany does, same thing that Christina does. For big thinkers, big vision, that's who they're looking for. And they do it over and over and over and over again. And that's what gets them the big results. That gets you on a yacht. And if you're not following Melissa Eichenhorst and her, please, please, please follow her. Please follow her. Go look at her stories. Go look at her Instagram. It is well worth your time. That'll expand your thinking a little bit. Anything else before we wrap up? I want to be mindful of our time.
The one thing that stood out to me that I was realizing I want to become even better at was where he was talking about being intentional to, and I think Amanda may have said something about this, but just the complimenting. He mentioned your spouse, like, or your kids, or finding something to encourage them about every day. And I was like, oh man, Lord, I was just like literally praying on the way home, like, help me to be better in that area. Especially, I've found that I've been more mindful to intentionally do that with our team more, trying to do that. But I was like, that's not an area that I've been as natural at sometimes in my home. And I need to be better about that. I've been trying to be more intentional with my children, with my husband. When instead of nitpicking all the things I see that need help and need improvement, trying to focus more on what is something great or what is something that is, calling those things forward. And that's something I'm still working on.
Yeah. And yeah, just intentionality. I can totally relate to that for sure. I think most of us can. Well, friends, last thing I will say to end, I love this book. I hope you don't just wait till Thursday to read it. The last line says it all. Grow big by thinking big. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. All starts right here. Love you, friends. Have a great night and see y'all later.